Hi everyone, thanks so much for being here today. My name is Cody. I'm the founder of Finders, Seekers, Junior Explorers. And I have two special guests with me today that are going to help us. So thank you so much for being here, guys. So Junior Explorers is a subscription box where every month we go on a new adventure and we go to a different place around the world. And we learn about that place while we do activities and do projects. And we also solve a mystery. So it's a really fun way to get together with your kids and solve a mystery and learn about the world. So today we are going to demonstrate and do a little bit of the Hawaii box. What do you guys think about when you think of Hawaii?
I think palm trees, beaches, water.
That's right. How about you?
Palm trees and grass and being outside.
Yeah, exactly. Hawaii is a beautiful place, and we're going to learn a little bit about that today. Did you know that Hawaii has over 100 islands as part of it? That's a lot, isn't it? Yeah, there's only a few that are inhabited or that have people on them living. So for our first activity today, we're going to learn a little bit about the beach and the sun. Both of you said the beach reminds you of Hawaii, right?
Yes.
So what is one of the first things you do when you go to the beach? What does your mom or dad do?
Put on sunscreen.
Yeah, you put sunscreen on, huh? Do you know why?
Where you can't get sunburned.
So you don't get sunburned, okay. So our first activity, if everyone will get in their box, it comes with a paintbrush and some sunscreen. And what we'll do is we're going to use the sunscreen as our paint today. Does that sound fun? It's kind of weird painting with sunscreen, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll squeeze the sunscreen on a paper plate.
It makes me feel like I'm at the beach, but inside.
I know. It's a familiar smell, I'm sure. But today we don't have to put it on us. We're going to paint with it, okay? So get your paint brushes. Get that. And we're going to use the piece of black construction paper that's included in your box. And you're going to paint on it. Paint something that makes you happy, a scene. Maybe it's a beach scene. Maybe it's something that you like to do in the summer. But paint something on the black. Make sure you get enough sunscreen on there that you can kind of see it, but not too much. And we definitely want to make sure that there is some of the black paper that is still showing. Because what we're going to do next, after we're done painting, we're going to take it outside and leave it in the sun for several hours. And you'll see what effect the sunscreen does and how it protects our skin. So let's get painting. What are you going to paint, London?
I'm going to paint a sunshine with an ocean.
Nice. How about you?
I'm going to paint a sunshine with a rainbow.
I love it. All right. We'll let you at home start painting, and after that we'll take it outside and see how the sun affects it. Okay, now once your painting is out in the sun for several hours, go back to it and look at it and see what happened. I have one that we did a few hours ago, and what do you see?
I see that it protected it.
Yeah, so it faded the paper. The sun faded the paper where the sunscreen wasn't. We actually used rocks in the corners, and you can see where the rocks were as well. Do you see that?
Yeah.
And even on the back of the side of the paper where the sun didn't get, it didn't affect the color. But on this side, you can see.
It's like kind of yellow.
Yeah, it looks a little yellow. So now we can see that the sun has an effect, and it's important to always wear sunscreen. So even if you may not get burned, it's still affecting your skin, right? And it's protecting us from cancer and getting burned. So, okay, I'll set that aside. Our next activity that we're going to do is make a sundial. So a long time ago, before they had any clocks or watches, people used to tell time through the shadows of the sun. And so they used one of these instruments called a sundial to tell the time by measuring where the shadow was. So what I'll have you both do is cut out this little triangle. Right on the dotted line. And then we will fold on the edge here that has the white where it says fold. And we're going to glue that right on top of the sundial circle. And once we do that, we'll have the flap, which is called a gnomon. That's the part that pops up and casts a shadow on the circle. And once that's all in place, we'll take this outside as well, and you'll see an arrow on the circle where it says north. You want to make sure that that arrow is pointing in the north direction, and then you'll be able to see it. The gnomon will cast a shadow, and wherever it casts a shadow on the marks, get a marker and mark where the shadow is at a certain time. So we'll start today, it's around 3:30. And we'll measure where the shadow is at 3:30. We'll go outside every hour and draw that line on the sundial and measure where the shadow is every hour. Then tomorrow we can go back and look at it and see what time it is during the day without having to see a clock. Okay?
Or a watcher.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so we'll fold this.
Front.
Yep. And then we're just going to glue it right here. Now make sure that this part where it's straight up and down, that goes towards the center.
Okay.
And then we'll glue it just like that.
Do we have any?
Yeah, just right there. Okay, go ahead. Put some glue right here. Great. Okay. Now we'll go take that outside and we'll start measuring the sun shadows, okay? Okay, for our next activity, we're going to do one of the puzzles that's part of the mystery in the booklet, okay? So at the first of the booklet, we tell a story about how our friend Jojo the puppy found a treasure map, and we're trying to find the end of the treasure. Well, one of the clues in the book looks like this, and it has a secret word that we're trying to find, okay? So I want you to take a really good look at this image and see if you can see some letters that look a little different. Can you see any letters that are different than the others?
Yeah, they're green.
Oh, they're green. What if we put those letters together? Do they spell anything?
And there's some black and some white.
Yeah. So don't say the word out loud. We'll let everyone at home solve the puzzle too. We don't want to ruin it for them. So anyway, look at the puzzle and see if you can find that word. After every activity that you do, there's a puzzle, and towards the very end, you'll put all of those words together and solve the mystery of where this treasure is hidden. Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, so for our next activity, we are going to look at some seashells. Have you ever found seashells at the beach?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all over the place. Do you know what seashells are?
Yeah.
What are seashells?
They're like these kind of sea things, and you can hear the big ones. You can hear them through.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can hear the ocean.
So if you get your box, look inside and you will find some seashells that are included in the box. We're going to be looking at those, examining them, and also in your box is a Finders, Seekers, Junior Explorers ruler. We're going to be using that ruler to examine the seashells and measure them. We're also going to look at what shape they are, what color, and what pattern, and we're going to write them on this chart here. So let's look at this shell first. Isn't that a beautiful one?
Yeah, that's really pretty. It looks like a hermit crab.
It looks like a hermit crab, yep. In fact, that brings up a good point. Did you know that seashells are homes to animals?
Yeah.
So the different types of animals that live in seashells, they're called mollusks. Now, not all mollusks have a seashell. Some of those, such as a octopus or a squid, don't have them. But a lot of them live in these seashells. And the seashells, why do you think they live in the seashells?
Because they have no other home to go. And
Yeah.
they're hard if anybody steps on them. Sometimes they can break, but sometimes they can stay.
Exactly. So the seashells protect the animals that live in there. Okay. And you can see where each of the animals would live in the seashells.
And I can kind of see it's dirty, so they might have gone.
Yeah. Okay, so everyone at home, take your seashells out and use the ruler. Measure the length, which is this way, the height, which is this way, and write those measurements on your chart. And also look at the seashells and see what colors you see. Some of them might have patterns on them. Some of them might be dark. Some of them might be bright white.
Some might be pokey.
Yeah, so they all look different and they feel different. So it's a really fun activity to look at them and imagine where the animals live, and then to classify and measure how big the seashells are. And they're all different. No seashell is alike. But you might find one thing that is common to all of them. If you look at them, several of them have this spiral.
The curly thing.
There's a spiral in several of them, and this is a pattern that repeats throughout nature, and we call it the Fibonacci sequence or Fibonacci swirl. And in the booklet, it talks a little bit more about that, and there's another activity that you can do, learning about the Fibonacci sequence and how that occurs over and over in nature. Not only seashells, but flowers and leaves, even animals.
Rocks.
Not so much in rocks, but in other things too. So, okay, so we'll continue on that, and once we're done with the seashell examination, we will move on. Okay, so go ahead and get your rulers out and start measuring and filling in the information about them. Good job on the seashells. Hope that was fun. Did you learn a little bit about each seashell?
Yeah.
Great. Our next activity is we're going to do another puzzle. We're going to decode and learn how to create a secret message, okay? So if you open your booklet to this page, page 7, it has a grid of letters and numbers. And what is the first letter in the alphabet?
A.
So if you use the number 1, that could be for the letter A, right?
Yeah.
So let's see if we can figure out your name in code. So look at the grid, and on the first letter of your name, you can see a number underneath it. So you just write numbers instead of letters, and that way you can create a secret code. Jojo, our puppy, has left us a code that will also help us find the treasure. So we'll let you kids at home do that on your own, so we won't reveal the answer to that. But let's go ahead and find your name in code.
But we also have to first figure out JoJo's code.
Yeah, we'll figure out JoJo's code, but we don't want to reveal it on the video so that it ruins the surprise for everybody, okay? So go ahead and do your name first, okay?
Okay.
So let's do my name. My name is Cody, so the first letter is C. What number is C?
3.
Can I borrow your pencil? So let's write a 3. The next letter in my name is an O. What number is that?
15.
15. And then a D, which is
4.
4. And then a Y, which is
25.
25. So my name in code is 3, 15, 4, and 25. Everybody at home, go ahead and do that for your name, and maybe a secret message to your best friend. Then your parents won't know what you're saying to them. Good job decoding that secret message. Was that fun?
Yeah.
All right. Our next activity, we're going to talk a little bit about the water in the sea. What have you noticed when you're at the beach and you go in the ocean? Have you ever tasted the water?
No, I don't drink it.
Yeah,
It's salt water.
It's salty, right?
Yeah.
Well, one thing about salt water is it has a higher density than regular water. Density, what that means is how solid an object is. And you'll notice that some things float on the water and some things sink, right?
Yeah.
What do you think about a rock? Is that going to sink?
Yeah, because it's too heavy.
Could. Yeah, most rocks will sink. There are some, however, that float.
Yeah.
Some volcanic rocks will float because they have little air particles in it. And objects float in the water when their molecules, the little objects inside of them, are denser or there's more particles to them. They will sink. If there are less particles per object, then they start to float. So for this activity, you're going to need 2 glasses of water, and in each glass, you need a cup and a half measured out and put in there just from your tap. And then you'll also need 2 eggs. And they have to be raw eggs, and you have to be really careful with them so you don't drop them. Otherwise, what happens? It's a
They
mess,
splash.
right? Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to give you one, and I'll give you one. And then let's make a hypothesis, which is, what do you think is going to happen when you put the egg in the water? Is it going to float or sink?
It's going to sink.
I think it'll sink too. Let's put it in there gently. Yep, they sunk, right?
Yep.
Okay, well, in your other cup, why don't you open the bag of salt that is included in your box and put it in the other glass. And then, yeah, put all of it in there. It's pre-measured for you. And then take the spoon and mix it up. And what do you notice? Does it look a little different?
It looks so much lighter.
It's kind of cloudy.
Yeah. Make this salt dissolve.
So it's important to mix it for quite a while so that it dissolves in the water and then the water becomes salty. Would you want to drink this?
No.
Gross, huh?
It's not in the cup just to drink.
Yep, let me show you how to swirl that around. Be careful not to spill any. And I'll help you out too. Perfect. Okay, once you're done, just put the spoon on the table. Now you can take your other egg and put it in there. And look, it floats.
Whoa!
So what is happening is when you add the salt in the water and it dissolved in the water, the density of the water changed, and it got to the point where the density of the water was more than the egg, and so then the egg is lifted up and it floats. Is that pretty neat?
Yeah.
And that is why when you go swimming in the ocean or in the Great Salt Lake here in Utah where we live, it's even more so. You just float in the water, and it's much easier to float in salt water than when you go swimming in a swimming pool. But when you go snorkeling and you go down underneath the water, your ears might get a lot more pressure and they hurt. So you have to be careful when you're snorkeling or scuba diving. So, okay. Well, that was all the activities we're going to do on the video, but there's plenty more included in the booklet and inside the Hawaii box. And we encourage you to check us out on our website, findersseekersjr.com, and you can see all of our adventures that we have. Each month we go to a different place and we solve a different mystery, and we learn about different cultures, different sciences, art projects, and it's a lot of fun. Thanks for joining us.